Listen carefully. I'm a woman, and I'm going to share secrets most women would never admit, not to their best friends, not to their sisters, and definitely not to you. This isn't pretty, it isn't polite, and it will crack the screen you've been looking through. Before we go there, tell me where you're watching from in the comments. I want to see how far this uncomfortable truth travels. You've been told a story about growth, about finding herself, about finally living authentically. That's the veil. The real story is simpler and it stings. When a woman suddenly changes several things at once, there is almost always a catalyst. And that catalyst has a name, a face, and daily access to her life. If you're a guy in your 20s or 30s, the late night scroller with a knot in your chest, the one who tried to be steady and kind, the one who hates drama but can't shake the feeling that something is off, this is for you. You want straight talk, not theory. You want the insider manual that nobody gives men. So here it is. I'm not here to bash women. I'm telling you how it actually plays out behind the smiles and the I just need time to work on myself. We don't gather in a secret club and plan betrayal. It's quieter than that, more automatic. Attention changes direction, and the river of our choices starts to follow it. We tell ourselves it's healing. We post quotes about boundaries and growth. We buy books, say new words, change old habits. But underneath the poster paint, there's a simple force. We are auditioning a new version of ourselves for a very specific audience. You've probably lived this scene. For months, you invited her to hit the gym with you, maybe Saturday, and the answer was always, I'm fine as I am. Then in a single week, the alarm clock is set for 6 a.m., the trainer is booked, the leggings arrive in 3 colors, and the mirror becomes a small stage. You think, great, she's finally loving herself. That's the trap. Men often read the first big change as positive and miss the pattern that follows. Real growth usually builds from the roots she already had. Sudden, multi-lane change style, interests, schedule, language comes from somewhere else, from someone else. I'm not asking you to become paranoid. I'm giving you your footing back. When the mask of self-discovery drops, you'll see the moving parts. A person who didn't exist in last month's stories, who now sits near her at work, texts during lunch, runs at the same park, laughs at the same music. That's the catalyst, real, specific, present. And once you learn to spot the catalyst, you'll stop arguing with shadows. You'll stop begging for the old version of her to return. You'll start reading the scene for what it is. Now, take a breath, because this is where most men get fooled. The first shift looks like sunshine. It looks healthy. It looks admirable. That's exactly why it slides past your guard. Ready? Here's where it begins. Her appearance becomes an obsession, and you'll want to clap for it. Don't. Look closer. Listen carefully. I'm your female behavior decoder, and I'm going to unmask a change most men read as growth when it's actually a response. If you're a Gen Z or a millennial guy in a relationship, the loyal one who pays the bills on time, who fixes the Wi-Fi, who texts home safe at 1 a.m. but still has that knot in his chest, this is for you. You don't want jargon, you want the truth in plain words. So here it is. When her appearance becomes an obsession overnight, you're not watching a personal project, you're watching a performance for a new audience. You know the contradiction because you lived it. For years, you suggested working out together, trying a new style, switching up hair or makeup. And she smiled, I'm comfortable as I am, or I don't need to change for anyone. Then snap. Everything shifts. The woman who made excuses for years is suddenly at an expensive gym before sunrise. A trainer calling her by a nickname you've never used. Delivery boxes stacked with leggings, blazers, and dresses that don't look like your weekends together at all. You ask what sparked it. She says, I finally decided to invest in myself. But here's what she's not telling you. The investment is calculated attention, not self-care. It's customized for a man with a specific gaze. Decoding the wardrobe tells you the story she won't. A corporate guy, and you'll see sharp suits and heels that click like a metronome. An athlete, and it's head-to-toe activewear, brand-matched, color-blocked. A creative, and the edges get jagged, asymmetry, leather, odd cuts she once called impractical. Hair is the key that turns the lock. Women don't change hair randomly. New color, new cut, new style, these are signals, like flares in the night sky, announcing to fresh eyes, see me as new. It's not rebellion, it's rebranding. Then the gym becomes a stage. PRs, check-ins, mirror clips. The captions talk about discipline and health, but the camera doesn't aim at the heart. It aims at the angles, the parts. The new audience rewards. She starts taking photos she never would have taken with you. Dressing room selfies, gym floor symmetry, soft light portraits. They're posted with timing that just happens to overlap with his schedule. That's not random, that's strategy. Visibility is the currency. The feed is the marketplace. Approval is the payout. I'm not saying she wakes up and decides to betray you. I'm saying attention has gravity. It pulls outfits, wake-up times, playlists, even posture into a new orbit. Real growth usually grows like roots, slow, deep, connected to who she already was. This kind of change arrives like a costume truck, fast, loud, branded. And when the audience changes, the costume changes with it. So if you're that guy, the steady one, the peacekeeper, don't argue with the captions. Read the calculus. This is not about mascara or macros. It's about mirrors and eyes. When she says, I'm doing this for me, understand the subtext. For me means for how I look in the right gaze. And that's the line that hurts because it's clean and cold and true. That's the biggest lie we tell. We never change for ourselves alone. We change for the person whose eyes we want to see admiration in. Listen carefully, because this is the change most men miss. If you're a millennial or Gen Z guy, the steady boyfriend, the husband who tries to keep the peace, the man who just wants the truth without fancy words, this part is for you. The second shift looks like growth. And that's why it's so insidious. She doesn't show up with drama. She shows up with new passions. Overnight, the woman who mocked your Sunday games now quotes player stats. The girl who rolled her eyes at your playlists now buys concert tickets. The homebody who loved movie nights suddenly posts clips from a cliffside trail and says she finally found herself. It feels wholesome. It looks mature. It smells like fresh air and freedom. But look closer. Something or someone has turned the dial. Here's the mechanism deconstructed in plain English. We mirror the interests of the men we're drawn to, not as a scheme, not as a villain move, but as an unconscious strategy baked into our wiring. Evolutionary programming rewards shared interests because they create easy connection, fast intimacy, and a clean path to opportunity. The mind tells a softer story. I'm being more open, expanding my horizons, growing as a person, and we believe it sincerely. That's why this phase is so hard to spot. It feels authentic inside her body, while it looks authentic outside to you. Watch how the details stack. Taste shifts across the board. Food, music, movies, books, weekend plans. She suddenly carries sophisticated opinions on topics she shrugged at last month. The ethics of a niche diet, the real meaning of indie lyrics, the beauty of a sport she once called boring. New physical activities appear on the calendar with clean edges. A league night, a Saturday hike, a dawn boxing class in a neighborhood neither of you ever visited. The words she uses become little badges, jargon from his world, easy and practiced, like a native accent learned in a week. This is not real growth, it's shape-shifting. Think of it as a careful fit test. New costume, new lighting, new stage partner. Real growth grows from roots, slow changes that extend from values she already held. What you're seeing is a fast graft. It blossoms, it photographs well, but it isn't anchored to her core. It's tethered to a person. That's why it's dangerous for you, because you'll try to keep up, you'll buy the gear, you'll act excited, and you'll confuse compatibility with compliance. Meanwhile, the source of the spark, the man with the name and face, becomes the sun the new orbit answers to. I'm not saying she's faking it. I'm saying the mind is excellent at self-persuasion. We don't think, I'll pretend to like his hobbies. We feel, wow, I never knew I could love this, because his presence greases the rails, the reward circuits light up, the shared laughter feels like proof, and the bond grows quickly because it's built on activity, language, and time. 3 bricks that stack into chemistry. Here's your quiet test, and it's the part most men skip. Wait, watch, and measure the half-life. When the inspiration source fades, when the texts slow, the proximity breaks, the glow cools, the passions that seemed eternal begin to vanish without a fight. The jersey drifts to the back of the closet, the hiking boots live under the bed, the must-read author becomes a forgotten tab. If it were genuine growth, it would remain. If it was programming, it dissolves. That's the tell. So if you're that loyal man with the knot in his chest, stop arguing with her openness and read the mechanism. This is not a love letter to curiosity. It's a bridge to intimacy with someone new. It creates chances to be together without saying, I want to be with you. It's neat, it's efficient, and yes, it's insidious. The truth may feel cold, but it sets you free. These fast passions are often borrowed enthusiasm, a temporary adaptation designed to create compatibility. And when the lender leaves, the enthusiasm returns to the bank. Listen closely, because this is the most dangerous transformation, because it sounds so healthy and mature. If you're a millennial or a Gen Z man, the steady boyfriend who hates drama, the husband who keeps the bills paid and the Wi-Fi running, the guy who just wants a straight answer, this is where you usually get disarmed. She doesn't come out with you with a fight. She comes wearing a mature mask. The words are polished, boundaries, space, individual growth, codependency. There are new books on the nightstand, a weekend workshop, an evening class on relationships. On paper, it looks like wisdom. In your chest, it feels like a door closing. Here's what's happening behind the curtain. Talking about boundaries with you often creates a strategic buffer for someone else. It isn't independence in the pure sense. It's selectivity. It's about who gets access to her time, attention, and energy, and you are no longer the default. So the calendar fills with new projects and friend catch-ups and late study groups. None of these technically break a promise. All of them create absence. Listen to the language shift. For years, you two were we. We should travel. We'll fix that. We can plan it this fall. Now the grammar turns. I want to travel. I'm thinking about changing careers. I'm not sure what I want anymore. That pronoun is not a typo. It's a rebrand. The arguments get philosophical and oddly procedural. She finds problems she never noticed before, your tone, your routine, your idea of date night, because she's comparing what you have to what might be possible elsewhere. The new standard isn't your history together. It's a fantasy she's auditioning in real time. You try to be supportive because you're a decent man. You say, take the time you need, and you mean it. You offer encouragement for therapy, for classes, for journaling. Here's the heartbreak the internet doesn't warn you about. Your support becomes the permission she needs to create more distance. The more mature you act, the more mature the story sounds. I'm doing the work. I need clarity. I don't want to be mechanical. Meanwhile, intimacy gets rules. Touch is scheduled or not tonight. Deep talks happen on her timeline. Anything spontaneous is labeled unsafe, ungrounded, not mindful enough. None of this proves she's a villain. Most women don't wake up and plot betrayal. Attraction simply redirects attention, and attention rewires habits. Evolutionary programming has always favored the path that seems most viable, a line where safety, status, chemistry, or momentum feel strongest. The modern packaging is therapy speak, but the engine underneath is old. It prepares the heart for a new option without having to say the quiet part out loud. Watch the red flags that hide in daylight. Requests for space arrive exactly when her life gets busier everywhere else. She is energized for everything except you. Plans that once included you now pause until I figure myself out. She praises your patience, then uses the time that patience buys to explore a different future. She says she wants deeper connection, but the practices that build it, shared rituals, eye contact, unhurried weekends, get postponed until after this season. And when you ask for clarity, you're told clarity needs more time. I'm not here to bash growth. Real growth makes a person more anchored, more honest, more present. What you're seeing is different. It's growth-shaped distance. It keeps the moral high ground while moving the emotional furniture out of the house. If you push back hard, you'll be labeled controlling. If you stay calm and supportive, the runway lengthens. That's the trap good men fall into, mistaken emotional availability for unconditional tolerance. So, read the language, not the captions. The mask says health, the motion says exit. The shift from we to I is not a phase, it's a plan. Boundaries that exclude you while widening every other circle aren't healing, they're sorting. And the cruel irony is that your kindness can grease the rails. If you're that man with the quiet knot in his chest, here's the line that frees you. Accept what the behavior is telling you, not what the words are selling you. Don't compete with the new ideal. Don't beg for the old version of her. Stand in truth, protect your dignity, and stop funding a distance that markets itself as maturity. Because beneath the workshops and the buzzwords, this isn't about instant betrayal or guaranteed cheating. It's about something evolution understands perfectly: emotional preparation for possibility. Take a breath. What you've heard so far wasn't meant to make you bitter. It was meant to make you clear. These shifts aren't always about bodies or hotel rooms. Most of the time, they're about emotional preparation for possibility, trial fits, soft openings, rehearsals for a different life. She's testing new versions of herself to see if they click with someone else's rhythm, values, or vision. Knowledge is power, and now you have it. If your woman suddenly changes her appearance, discovers new passions, and starts creating boundaries, especially if all three happen simultaneously, there's likely a specific man inspiring those transformations. That's the diagnosis. The question is, what do you do with it? First, reject the reflexes born from fear and scarcity. Don't compete by becoming more like the other guy. Don't build a costume out of his interests. Don't beg for the old version of her to come back as if love is a time machine you can crank by effort alone. Don't flood her with texts, flowers, promises, or researched fixes for problems she discovered last week. All of that is movement without dignity, noise without leverage. It's halter you're afraid to lose her rather than certain of who you are. Fear and scarcity make small men, they never make steady ones. Second, return to what you can actually govern: yourself. The stoic move is not coldness, it's clarity. Accept reality with dignity. If she's orienting away from you instead of with you, that's not a puzzle to solve, it's a truth to respect. Hold your boundaries calmly. No surveillance, no tantrums, no threats, no bargaining. Speak once, cleanly. I see the changes. I won't compete for a place in your life. If you want this, choose it. If you don't, choose that. Then step back and let choices reveal character. You cannot out-argue gravity, and you shouldn't try. Third, invest where your control compounds. Sleep, train, work, purpose, friendships, routine, the pieces that anchor your life, whether she stays or goes. A centered man is not an accessory. He's a home. When you are grounded, you're immune to the sales pitch that confuses distance with maturity. You don't punish, you don't plead. You observe, you decide, you act. Finally, understand what the outcome means either way. If she turns toward you, it should be by her own traction, not because you perform tricks. If she continues changing away from you, believe the direction more than the dialogue. The story may arrive wrapped in therapy speak or in silence. The motion is the message. And here is your North Star. The Stoic approach is to accept reality with dignity. That dignity is not passive, it's principled. It keeps your heart open while keeping your spine straight. So let this be your clean line in the sand. When a woman is changing away from you instead of with you, that is already your answer. Don't compete, don't resurrect, don't contort. Choose self-respect over self-erasure. Because a man with self-respect doesn't cling to someone who's emotionally checking out. He thanks the truth for arriving early and he walks forward.